Hey guys, so we're back today, and today we're going to be removing my Royal Enfield Classic 500 seat to fix. So if you didn't know what happened, on the back here, it's starting to lift, and while I was riding, this whole section came forward. So we're going to be gluing this today. So what I did first was I loosened this bolt in here. This one was the hardest one to take off because there's so much weight on it. But this basically holds the front of the bike down. Then I removed this one. As you can see, this one's just in right now. But when you remove these, you'll come with like a washer, or like a rubber washer. That's for the spring, and then a metal washer. This is actually to hold everything together and make it not scrub. But if you take it off, I recommend leaving it all like this, just so you know which way it goes. So what I did was I lifted this and just pulled this bolt out. This is the longest bolt, and also it has a flat side in the middle. Then if you remove this, it's the smallest bolt. That's for both sides. So this is for the springs, and then what you have to do is like lift up and then back, and that's how you remove the seat. As you can see, we just got the seat off, and this is what it looks like when it's off. It's got the springs on the bottom. These two springs were connected to those brackets, and this is the piece that was very hard to take off. These bolts over here, it's more like a bolt, right? If you loosen both, if you push it down, that lowers your seat and makes your seat higher. But we're gonna get into the house and we're gonna start gluing this thing. So we are back at the bench, and this is some of the things you'll need to do this. So you're gonna need like a few clothespins, a bucket of water, maybe a little soap in there, obviously a cloth to wipe that with, and some contact glue, a paintbrush to spread the contact glue, and some tape. So first things first, we're going to be taking our cloth, some water, and we're just going to wipe the places that we are cleaning, just see if there's any residues or anything, just everywhere. After that, we're going to grab a different side of the cloth and just dry that off, because the contact glue we are using doesn't adhere to water. So just wiping that up. Once it's all wiped, this is what we're going to do. So you can take some of your glue. First you want to see if any of your parts are bulging, actually, like this. Then you want to push it down, just see if everything's fitting properly. So first thing you want to do is you want to glue the easiest spot. For me, that's going to be this bit here. Let's move that. This bit here. So as the spring is in the way, so you guys can't really see. But what I'm going to be doing is taking some of the contact glue, spreading it on that part, very well spread, just so I can get all the nooks and that. And then once we've got where we want it to, we're going to push it down. And to hold it, you're going to take one of your clothespins, push that on, and maybe we'll put a second one. Actually, we don't need a second one. So people say you must do this in one go. If you can, you should, but I'm trying to go step by step and slow, just so you guys can follow along. Now we're going to do this edge coming up here. I'm going to grab some of our contact glue, brush a good layer of it on. This stuff does take some time to dry, but once it's layered on nicely, it won't move very much if you do it properly. I'm going to put some in there, squish it down, grab one of our clothespins, peg it, get other sections, grab another clothespin, peg it. So now that we got that section done, we're gonna wait a little bit, but in the meanwhile we can start doing the other side. So I try to work from these two sides inwards, just so that it goes equally, but as you can see, this side is glued down. So we're going to be doing this right here. So I'm going to lift that back a little bit, grab our brush, our contact glue, and we're just going to paint it on a good amount, spread it a little bit, take it and push it down. And as you can see, as I'm pushing, I'm pulling the leather down
just to tighten the seat up a little bit.
So while I was waiting here, I found that all this edge is also peeling. So we're gonna have to glue all this, and then if you can see down there, to get the camera right, down there we're also gonna glue there so all this stays properly. But what we have to do is we have to pull all this up and then only glue this edge, so it's going to be a mission to do. So we're back, and now we're going to be doing this top section over here. So I'm going to be doing this the way I know how to. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see, but I hope it comes out on the camera. So on this edge we're going to put a very heavy layer of this stuff just to hold everything in place. Obviously we're going to spread it first, because if you put the big layers, it's going to start bulging when it dries. So we're not just going to put on the tip of it, we're going to kind of go in the inside of it and also on that, and we're just going to squish this section down first. And now to hold this in place, I've got nothing, so we're just going to take a peg from this side, peg it on there, and then we're going to do this small section that was lifted up here. Now that we've just taken that off, now we're going to pull all the stuff down, and because I'm holding it with tension, I'm going to actually hold it, and we'll get back to you now. Yeah. So we have pegs running here to here, and we've got one behind the spring. So some of it is coming up, but obviously we're just trying to tack it down now, and then later we're going to actually go in with a fine brush and just spread all that glue. So we're going to be doing this now, but that's sort of the same, so let's start. So as you can see, we put pegs all around this section. There is still one here because this side isn't going down. But what we are going to be doing now is filling in all of that. So let's start. And if you guys are wondering what glue I'm using, it's just standard contact cement that you can buy from your local Builders or Walmart if you're in America. I am in SA, so we have Builders and Leroy Merlin. So that's what we're using, and it's good stuff. I've used it in a Toyota Tazz to secure the roof, just because that roof was sagging a little bit, and it worked quite well. Worked really well actually. So we're just putting some more clothespins on the edges, and then as you can see, the inside looks like that. Let's just bring it up. Don't know how well you guys can see that, but it looks like that. Let's get a little bit more light so you guys. 1 second. That's better. As you can see inside, all that glue around the edges. But I'm going to finish this up and then I'm going to get back to you. So this is close to our end result. As you can see, I did put a peg here because it was lifting on this side, and there's a little tear there. I didn't know that. But we got pegs on this whole rear section. Let's show you from this side. As you can see, that's what it looks like. It's coming out quite well, I think. I'm hoping. But this should do the trick. And then we're going to do this next. So you guys aren't going to be able to see the best of this because of the seat bolting hardware. But I'm going to try and film most of it, and then whatever I can, I'll stop. Let's just fix that peg. Same thing, I've just been doing it in small patches, but because this is a curve, I'm going to try and do it in one whole go. So let us try. This is a stock Royal Enfield seat, so it is not aftermarket, but it's nice to have. It's soft, and I do have a rear pillion seat, but I don't really have that on the bike. I like going by myself and riding. Don't carry any passengers. just glue that. That's actually holding quite tightly. And then we're just going to take a few pegs from this end and we're just going to peg it forward. Peg isn't really working actually, especially on this side because of the curve. Let's just plug that back. So I think we're going to have to use some of that tape. So I did bring insulation tape, a little stronger than I would have used, but we do need it. Let's just open some of this. Grabbing from the toolbox a box cutter. I'm just cutting with the box cutter. Please be safe with box cutters, they do slice your fingers off a lot. So we are just going to be applying tape. Let's flip you around, let's see if you can see that, sort of. So we're going to be applying a piece of tape there, pulling the seat down and then just squishing it inwards so it holds. I might actually leave this tape on here just to hold it down, but we can do that. So now we're going to try and do a whole section, but first, before we do that whole section, just going to stick that up there. We're going to be just sticking this down because that just came up now. This bit right here. Oh, my brush just fell in the glue, so it's covered in the glue, which is cool. It means you can just drop all of that in there and stick it. Trying to get any of the wrinkles out and spread the glue on this lower section. Now we're just going to hold this for about 5 minutes and then I'll get back. So I've just put a peg here in the meanwhile while it's drying, and now we're just going to put a sheet of insulation tape, strip of insulation tape, not a sheet. So we got it right here. So what I am going to be doing is, it's kind of an odd way to do it, but I'm going to have to try. We're going to push the leather, put the tape, and just squish it on the leather and inside there, and just, you know, put it in this hold section. Now I'll be doing this to all of it. This is just so if the glue fails, there is insulation tape, which the glue won't, but in case, you know. We're going to be doing it on the outside also. So we just put some newspaper under the seat because there is glue on the bench. But for now, we're going to start taking off these and seeing if we can put the insulation tape on them. Alright, now we can. So plan is to get a long strip. Just going to measure, estimate how long, and add a little centimeters to that. I am in South Africa, so I do use centimeters, not feet. So yeah, so we're just going to cut it. We're going to start on this side, and we're going to stick it on the pan, well, the metal sheet, which is, I could just call it the pan. And then we're just going to obviously take the tape, curve it around, and stick it. As you can see, while I'm sticking, I'm also pushing the leather down, just so it holds better. And there we go. I'm just trying to push out all these air bubbles. So that was the main bit of it. And now we're going to try and put it in the edges here. Don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see that, but we'll try. But first I need to glue this bit in again. Just take some of this contact glue. Smush it up around there. Squish it down. And then what I usually do is I just put a little contact glue on the edges. Take a peg. Just hold this thing down. Actually, this one we're going to have to hold by hand, so let's just wait a little bit. Just trying to push this in that groove. So the seat is curved outwards, and then obviously the pan bends a little inwards. So it's an odd shape, but it's so comfortable to sit on. So now we're going to grab our sheet of insulation tape. We cut this one quite long, which makes it a little harder to work with, but also less work. So we're just going to remove that. Let's see, I think it's better if you guys stay like that. This sheet is going to go right there. And to get this in more, I'm taking a flathead screwdriver with a piece of insulation tape on the tip, so I don't cut the insulation tape. Let's just grab that. Grabbing this, a piece of insulation tape over a flathead screwdriver, and we're just gonna be pushing it in those grooves. Now, this isn't the best way to do it, but I'm gonna be doing it this way. If you guys want to do it your way, that's your choice, but this is the easiest and best way for me. I'm just gonna curve this bit around. As you can see, it's stuck in that spring. So it did get tangled, so we're just gonna cut that small piece off with a box cutter. There we go. If you hear that ping, that's the springs, like the little ting sound. It's very nice sounding. So now that we got that, we're just gonna push it in. And now we're gonna have to do this section. This section I actually don't want to put insulation tape, but I think I'll put a little bit. I really don't want to, but just to hold it in place. So what we're doing now is we're just putting some contact glue inside here, contact glue in there. Now we're gonna wait for that bit to dry. In the meanwhile, we're gonna start gluing this end. As you can see, we did a little bit there. We're gonna do the whole thing now, so we're just gonna unpeg that and take some of our insulation tape. So this one I'm actually gonna do it smaller because I've seen when you work with the long bits around the edges, it gets really hard. So I'm gonna come over here with the insulation tape, push down and push more down. Grab a flathead and just squish on the edges, just the edges. Now that we got that done, we're gonna do the last little bit on that end, and then we're gonna try and do this little curve there. I don't really need to put on that little curve because I put so much contact glue, but I am just, you know, safety. I like to be thorough with gluing and all that, but when you do insulation tape, less is kind of more, because the more you layer it on, the uglier it looks, number one, and like the least strong because you're just adding weight, and then it'll just peel off easier. And then this little bit, I did overlap it a little bit just so that I can get a better adhere. There we go. There we go. And for now, we are going to just be cleaning up the edges, and then we're going to meet you back in the garage. So I'll meet you back in the garage, but what we're actually going to do after we've glued the seat, we're just going to dip our cloth in the water. I'm just going to clean off all the gunk that was on the table off our seat, and this is actually a good time to clean your seat. If you got leather, shiner, whatever that is, you can use some of that. I do not, so no, I'm not going to be using that, but just a normal wipe down will do the best for you. And then we're just going to take the other side of the cloth, the dry side, just wipe over that again just to dry it off a little bit more. And now we'll meet you in the garage. The bike looks without the seats on. Very scary to see, very bare, but let's install it. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to get this on camera, but I'm going to try. So what we need to do is we need to get the seats on the top, but what you have to do is you have to put this section on the rim. It should just slide in, and then these two springs, the little loops, must be on the inside of the bike. So that's what we need to do. I recommend doing the springs first and then the front section, just so everything's lifted, so it's easy to put that screw in. But if you guys want to do it the other way, you can. So we're going to be starting on this side. Let's just put some more light on this quickly, hoping you guys can see more better. There we go. Hope that's better. But for now, it's gonna have to do. So the way the thing goes is first this black washer on the back of the spring, then it's this metal washer over that. So we're gonna put the screw in, metal washer, put it on that side, and then it's just a singular bolt. It's just gonna hand screw this in for a little bit. Once we got to this certain point, we're gonna be doing it on the other side now. And the reason I'm putting both in is so the seat actually stays in place. So let's just cut you off to that side. We are here now. This one you can't really see because the license disc is in the way. But let's try our best. As you can see, that goes in. Then the black washer. Then the silver washer. Then the bolt. And screwed on as best as I could. Now, I'm gonna be filming the other side, the right side of the bike first, but I won't be able to film the second, left side because of the license disc in the way and the grab handle. So my best way of tightening this thing up is with a socket wrench and a second wrench on the other side. So let's grab those. Obviously, right side socket on it. And then the other side must be the right size wrench. Let's see if that's also on the other side. Yep. Sorry, my tools are scattered all over the place because I don't know which one to grab. That should be the right size. There we go. Zoom you guys out a little bit. And if you guys are saying a drill would be easier, yes it would, but I don't have a drill right now. I got a socket set. And also with the socket set, you can get it in, but as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see this, but that black washer is not seated into the spring properly. So that's the problem. You have to seat that black washer into the spring because it's that's what keeps the spring like a damper between the metals. So let's just loosen this thing now. Just lift it up. Try and push that in. There we go. And now with all the tension on it, I'm going to try and screw this thing back in. So this isn't my first time taking off the seat. I did do it once before, but it went a lot less smoother, and that was because I didn't know what I was doing. But I did check out a YouTube video how to remove the seat, and then gluing. I just know how to glue that because it's not the first time I've glued a seat. We did have a Royal Enfield before this. It was also a Classic 500. It was in maroon, but that was a 2009. This is 2016. And we did remove the seats on that because they had the same seat problem. We did use the same glue, and we did install it the same way. But for now, this is what we're doing. I'm going to jump cut to when it's done, but in the meanwhile, so we've just got both bolts in these spring bolts for the seat. Now we're going to be doing the main bolt that holds the front of the seat down, which is this one. Now this one is the hardest one to put in, not because it's too tight, because it's in such an awkward position. You have to, that's as far as it goes in, and then you just have to, there we go. Now I'm using the tool that the bike came with, the bike tool, and I've just been using that to screw it in. Let's get you a better angle on this. Yeah, I think that's better. I don't know if it's going in or not. Seems like it isn't. Let's check on the other side. Let's pull it out and see. Yes, that didn't screw in. See what the problem is. I think I'm just gonna have to there. Let's find out the small hammer piece. Slide the screwdriver in there. Now I want to go in. I swivel the seat a little bit. Just pull out the screw again. If this thing doesn't screw in, I don't know what the problem could be. Okay, just wiggle the screw around, get it seated. Alright, that was the problem. I don't know if I'm screwing the wrong way. Let's check. Let's try the other way. I think that's loosening it though. Yeah. Putting some force into screwing it, maybe that's fine. That's so odd. It's not going in. I'm going to fiddle around with it. Once I get it in, I'll put you guys back. So we're back. We just put that bolt in. Such a mission to put in. Literally. The tool that I was using, this is the one that came in the Royal Enfield toolkit. It's just this rod and this hex. It's got a one side's hex on this side, and this side, and then this rod actually has an Allen key on this side, and then it fits in here. It's a very gimmick tool, but it's such a nice tool to have. So now we are just going to put on the front plate. To do that, we just have to align it with the top and the bottom, just like that. Top is tight, but once you get it in, you can just lock it, and there we go. So let's start this bike and see what it is done. So that was the seat install. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching.